Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm on my phone to see if this time of the morning phones are better than computers because it generally tends to break down for me in on the laptop. So I'm trying something different. So I'm talking about friend relationships, right? And where is it that you want to go? Hey, Sue. The other thing about being on my phone is I get to see the comments. And my laptop is dinging. So it really depends on where you want to go, right? For me personally, I know that I want to experience my highest capacity that I possibly can on this planet while I'm here. I want to experience everything that I can experience in my highest capacity, right? And that means being tenacious, right? It means actually being committed to yourself and your growth. And there's times when you're growing and expanding and you're, going through and looking at the stuff that's going on in your life and you're making improvements and you're incrementally changing and shifting things as you go along. And as you're doing that, you may have some really beautiful friends that are being lifelong friends and you've been committed to a friendship that you thought was going to last forever, that might not be on the same page as you develop, as you shift, as you grow, as you move and as you expand. And unconsciously, those people, and sometimes consciously, right? Depends on the type of person, because there's a lot of narcissistic behavior out there in the world these days. Those people can be trying to hold you back in the old patterns of behavior, in staying the same because it's comfortable for them, right? There's people out there that say they love you but don't want to see you grow, right? Say that they love you but don't want to see you come to your fruition, because that means they've got to look at their own stuff. That means that they've got to grow and expand and develop themselves. And sometimes that's freaking scary, right? I don't know about you, but I know that personal growth is not a walk in the park. It's not something that that is taken lightly. That's why there's this thing about the 1% of the population, right? Because 1%ers are the ones that are dedicated to and committed to their own personal growth, sometimes their own spiritual growth, and really committed to exploring and expanding and experiencing themselves in their highest capacity. And so I want you to look at your relationships, and the ones that are holding you back. And they're the ones that when you come up with a great idea, when you're experiencing something and you've got this new thing and you're really excited about it, they're the ones that are warning you. They're the ones that are like, oh, I've heard such and such who tried that. And I keep getting all these notifications on my phone. I heard Joe Blow up the road and he tried that and it didn't work for him, right? And so you should be careful. You should be careful because, like such and such, it didn't work for him and so, or her. And so, you be careful because it might not work for you. Or you should have consulted me first, right? And it's a very interesting thing when you're growing and expanding and there's people that you love dearly. And this can be family. This can be family as well, right? People that you love dearly that aren't supportive of your growth. I remember there was a woman in my life years ago when I first spiritually woke up. She was a dear friend of mine that I don't know how come we were friends. We were very like chalk and cheese, right? Chalk and cheese. We met through the kids at preschool, and as I spiritually started waking up, all these weird things were happening to me, and she didn't understand. I didn't understand it, right? I was having some crazy experiences. She didn't understand it, but you know what? She used to say, I don't know what's going on, but you know, it's fun watching you, you know, like, and she would just cheer me on. And you know, she just had this beautiful way of encouraging me in everything that I was doing. You know, I slept at her house once and had this weird experience with a ghost in her room, and we looked up because the ghost gave me, you know, the energy gave me their name distinctly, and we looked up the yellow pages or the white pages at the time, and it was some weird name like Brown as a surname, like Michael Brown or something like that. And here it was, like hundreds and hundreds of names. It wasn't Michael Brown, but it was something like that. Hundreds and hundreds of names. And here was like, because anyone that's old enough to know what the white pages is, you remember that it was the surname and then would have the initial of the person, right? Here it was, hundreds and hundreds of names, and here was Michael Brown, right, with the full name. And she's like, you got to ring him, you got to ring him. And I didn't. It was too freaky for me to experience. But she was so encouraging with some of the stuff that was going on with me. And yet there were other people in my life that didn't understand and were pulling me down energetically. And that's the thing about it that I wanted to bring up today, is that you've got to make a decision. If you're stepping into that part of yourself that wants to experience the highest capacity that you possibly can, it means making some freaking, you know, big badass decisions and you know, going into the unknown, stepping into the unknown, jumping that chasm when you don't know if you're going to get to the other end, right? Not knowing where the next step is. Those decisions are for the warriors. Those decisions are for the vision walkers, right? And they're few and far between in life. And the muggles, the people that want to stay the same, that want to, you know, shut their eyes and blinkers and just want to conform, in you know, they're the ones that are doing the same thing day after day after day after day, right? Those people will pull you down and tell you why you can't do it and why it's not good for you, and give you their expert opinion of whatever it might be, even though they haven't got the results. The thing is, and this is really important for you to know. Good morning, how you going? Monday morning. It's a Monday morning, ladies, and this is time for reflection, right? We're at the very start of there's a couple of things that are in the process at the moment, right? We're at the very start of the new financial year, and we're at we're in the middle of the calendar year, right? The Gregorian calendar year. And so this is a pivotal point in our life. And we can keep going in the same direction. We can keep going. We can conform. We can feel comfortable. We can keep having those same conversations, even though they bore us to tears, right? We can stay the same. Or we can step into our highest capacity. We can keep learning. We can be better than we were the day before, right? And I don't know about you, but definitely that's one of the things that I'm stretching for, that I'm experiencing, that I want to know more about, right? Good morning, Christine. Now, this is the thing that I wanted to come back to. When you start making the decisions about your life, right? About your expansion, about your growth, your highest capacity, when you start making those, you know, and yes, some of them are big and scary, and some of them, you know, are in the unknown because you don't have any guidance. You might be going somewhere that you know, there's people that have done it before, but you don't know those people, right? So you're, watching and being influenced by people on YouTube or whatever it might be, or you're just in this space of wanting to create a different vibration. And, like you're stepping into this unknown. It's different to what your family has done. When you do that, incrementally, as you do that, and you step into that unknown and you take those big, scary steps, and you start making the decisions not to have those lower vibrations in your life, what happens is your auric field becomes more I've been looking for the word for it because I've been talking to my clients about this. Becomes more static, becomes more whole, becomes more tangible. There's a solidness to your energetic field. It becomes more palpable, right? It becomes more grounded. You start really bringing in your essence, your authentic being, your higher self becomes more present here in the moment, here on the planet. And as you develop that, as you become more and more of who you are, those other vibrations, the relationships that you used to have, some of them will grow with you, right? I've got some really beautiful friends that I've known for a long time that I know will be lifelong friends because of the wisdom, because of the integrity, because of the wholeness of those relationships. And then there's others that I thought were going to be forever friends that I've had to let go of because, for whatever reason, they did not want to change. They did not want to explore the relationship, or they didn't want to come into an understanding of building a new way of being together, right? And their vibration was not in the same, it was not conducive to where I was going. And so, when you're in this space, right? When you get to the end of your life, do you want to go, yes, I did everything that I knew I wanted to experience when I came down. I came down knowing I wanted to have a blast. I came down knowing I wanted to experience all this amazing stuff. I came down knowing I wanted to build my capacity to the highest capacity, to make a huge difference, a mark in the world, right? Or are you going to get to the end and go, yep, I stayed in that vibration so that it made others feel comfortable. I stayed in that vibration because I was too scared to step out and to say, nah, sorry, don't want that in my world anymore. Don't want that in my vibration anymore. It's not resonating to me anymore. And I'm ready to step up. I remember years ago when I was doing past life regression, I was doing 7 years of training. It was quite intense. It was every weekend, nearly every weekend, for 7 years. And I remember having a dream at one stage, like I was, a third of the way through, and I had this dream, and I was on an old rickety train. Actually, it wasn't an old train. It was a train of the time, to tell you the truth. I just remembered it was one of those trains back then, like you could open the back of the train and look out the back door. They don't do that sort of thing anymore, right? Anyway, I was looking out the back. I was on this train. I had the door open, and there's all these people running, right? Hundreds of people running, trying to get on the train. And I was holding on. You can't see my hand because I'm on my phone. Holding onto the train and trying to pull these people up onto the train. And at the time, I wasn't as good as I am now with dream interpretation. And I was asking my mentor about it, and she said, you can't bring everyone with you. Not everyone has the capacity to grow and to expand And sometimes you're going to have to let go of people. And it's a hard freaking thing, right? Especially when nothing bad has happened, right? Sometimes, and this is an interesting thing, sometimes when you want to shift and grow and move, and because, you know, the vibration isn't the same anymore and you're not getting, you know, a reciprocal energy, or, you know, something's shifted, sometimes people will make a scene or call in energetically some sort of disruptive energy, you know, an argument or a disagreement or, you know, whatever it might be, so that they can then justify why they've decided to separate from this relationship or this friend or, you know, family member or whatever it is, right? So they can justify and validate to themselves that they're not a bad person, and that, yes, this is something that they, you know, look at what happened, so now I can leave feeling not guilty or shameful or anything like that, and I can make a decision to move. But sometimes those things, you know, if you're really in your integrity, sometimes it's just that the relationship is not conducive anymore, and there's no reason to make any, you know, like just going, wow, you know, we're not on the same page anymore. And isn't it beautiful when you can find someone that's got that sort of alignment, that actually is the same, goes, yeah, I feel it too, you know, like there's something, there's this, you know, bump in the system that's not working for us anymore. And, you know, I encourage you to keep moving on with your life, and I'm going to move on with my life, and I love you dearly, and take care and see you later, right? Wouldn't that be beautiful? That's the sort of thing I remember seeing in, has anyone ever seen Celestine Prophecies or read the book? Who's watched the movie or read the book of Celestine Prophecies? That's going back a long time ago when I read that book. And that was one of those beautiful scenes in the movie and in the book, where there's two, they were sort of, I think they were lovers, if I remember correctly, and they're in the rainforest and they're searching for whatever, and there's this moment where they recognize that they've got to separate and go in separate directions, and they just feel it in the energy. They feel the difference. They know that this is what's happening, and they love each other, and they part, right? Wouldn't that be beautiful to have that sort of experience when people are just in the field and they're aware of what's going on? That would be really beautiful. And unfortunately, we're not all there. So I'm asking you the question, where are you at? What are you doing a bit of a, you know, an audit? I don't like the word, but that's the word that came up. An audit on where you're at and what relationships have been holding you back. If you're moving in a certain direction, you've got a vision that you know that you've got the capacity to experience here and live energetically aligned to, then what's going on and what relationships may be holding you back in old patterns of behavior that's stopping you from that growth. And it can be subtle, right? Who are you choosing? Who are you choosing in any moment? And when I bring in those three powers, you know, power, powerless, and empowerment, when you're in a relationship that's got a power, powerless dynamic, you're in duality. And you're never going to be able to get out of that until you change a pattern of behavior, until you recognize that there is something that needs to be shifted, and you make that decision to do the shift, right? Because it's you that has the power to live at your fullest capacity, to really connect in with your higher knowing, and to live what you were meant to be living here on this planet, right? enjoy your life. And when you hear that, if there's anything that comes up after that, like, because it's within seconds the unconscious comes in, right? Within seconds, the unconscious will come in with a thought, a vision of someone, for example, an old belief system. Those things are the ones that you want to look at, because sometimes we can think that they're our intuition, but actually they're generally our unconscious, trying to keep you in that ever, the rat wheel or whatever they call it, on the mouse wheel thing, doing the same thing over and over again. So Monday morning, have a think about it. What are you doing in your relationships? Who is holding you up? Who is supporting you to be everything that you can be possibly in your life? And who are the people that you may need to let go of, right? You may need to shift. And I've got to tell you, when what I'm experiencing, as I expand, as I grow, as I hold more of my own capacity, I'm finding that as I'm letting go of some of those relationships, there's people that are coming in to at that same frequency, right? There's people that are in my life that are holding that frequency and supporting me to stay leveling up, supporting me to be in my genius zone, supporting me to be all that I can in my highest capacity. And that's what I want for all women of light, right? To live at the highest, to be present. This is a whole new session, and I won't go into it too much, but so many of us talk about live in your heart space, but I've got to tell you, if your heart's damaged, you've got a few things that you need to sort out in your heart space before you live in there, right? Because often when we're living in our heart space, there's some wounds in there that need to be sorted out before you can really truly expand into that highest capacity. So that's me for today. Enjoy. If you're interested in finding out how to hold that frequency, then watch this space, because I've got a webinar coming up very shortly, and we're going to sort it out today, me and my team, and get it out there. So if you're interested in the webinar when we put it together, which is today, let me know. Just put yes please in the comments and we'll send you the link. All about living in your highest capacity and living in, calling in all of the experiences that you can experience in your life, because that's what you're here for, right? Don't you want to live all those fun, loving, freaking, exciting moments of life? I know I do. Take care, enjoy your week, and we'll catch up soon.